And welcome everyone to game number 2 of the MSL Code Silver Semifinals. This is the second set of semifinals. And this is going to be another game in the PvP series between this red Protoss player here, Gogy, and his pink Protoss opponent down here in the bottom right-hand corner, Glenn. So names for Starcraft players, so I'm totally taking this from day 9. This is not my idea at all, but I completely agree with it. Generally, you have names in online games of any sort, actually, and you have names that are just names, like Glenn. That's just a name. I'd venture to guess that this player's name is Glenn. Then you have Gogy over here, which Gogy is a little bit harder to understand, and therefore falls under the ancient historian category. For instance, I would say that Gogy is probably one of the ones that perhaps invented fire, or accidentally invented the wheel, something like that. I could see that happening, caveman Gogy. And then you have pharmaceuticals, which is the other category of names. So we're here on Accolon Wastes. Remember, Accolon Wastes is different from Accolon Flats in the fact that it has Pride Rock, which makes this base even easier to hold. As you cut down Pride Rock and the top half of it falls here, it's deceptively... You chop it off and it somehow falls over this area. It's amazing how it works. But it makes this super easy to take. Remember, there are still these rocks you have to worry about. But overall, it's an easy map to get 3 bases on, but it's a hard one to get 4. Generally, you see this one being taken, although occasionally you'll see this. And we saw some friendly banter at the very beginning, saying watch out for cannon rushes, and based on what's going on, I'm kind of sad because there's no cannon rushes, because cannon rushes are fun. The other thing I want to point out, that this is a proxy pylon, and that he has not scouted that. He should go check. You should always keep tabs on your opponent's probes. That's a huge deal in PvE anything. You need to make sure you know where those probes are, and even just locking them, making sure that they're not in your half of the map, can make a huge difference. And it looks like this pylon will be... Oh, he might have done something clever. Forced him to finish that that pylon. That's actually something. So if you go ahead and attack at the beginning, they might cancel it, and then they only lose 25 minerals. But if you let it finish, and before now, you know that because you're also Protoss, there's no way that can be done. There's no way Warp Gate can be done. So he's going to finish this Zealot and have the Zealot go ahead and take out the pylon, and he loses 100 minerals right at the very start of the game. So, not a bad deal. Warp Gate going to be started, and it's going to be chrono boosted as he thinks he's totally safe, but he's not. So Glenn should be in a pretty good position here. Looking at everything else, it looks like we have a mirror build even. No, almost not a mirror build, but mirror openings for the most part in the beginning. Yeah, that should finish way in time. Mothership Core is even coming out, which is not something that we saw last game, as only Glenn was the one that produced a Mothership Core. And even then, it was only one. Another thing I just want to say to Blizzard at some point is that you should, just like Zerg, have the ability to rally workers and then units from their next eye. So should Protoss players, so then Mothership Cores don't always end up in the middle of the mineral line, which is kind of annoying. The probe does escape, so resources lost. I'm kind of confused where the other 37 came from. He canceled something. It could have been from canceling a gateway there at the beginning, as I think you get 37 back from 150 minerals. So opening, we do have a 3-gate opening. Are we going to see a 4th? Are we going to see a 4th? I love 4 gates. Everyone loves 4 gates. Although with no proxy pylon yet, it doesn't look like it's going to be an aggressive 4-gate. It could just be a 3-gate opener, which is still very aggressive, but with no proxy pylons. Wow, 3-gate over here, but 3-gate with a robotics facility is a completely different build than a 3-gate with no robotics facility. That's going to line up quite nicely. These gateways are done, so is Warp Gate. These should all morph here in just a moment. Or... Okay, there we go. Not making me look ridiculous. On camera / audio / Starcraft. It looks like that pylon is going to be going down as well. Gateway, Warp Gate has finished up. but all the proxy pylons have been taken out, and Gogy's actually just taken a loss of resources at this point in time. And because part of that is, though, he's going to head and expand. He's got an Immortal Bay. I actually just called this an Immortal Bay. Kind of makes sense. He there we go. I was surprised we hadn't seen any more Immortals out of him already, as generally you want to be producing Immortals when you have the building that can produce them. And the reason that I was saying this is a good choice to expand is that Warp Gate allows you to be aggressive anywhere because it nullifies the defender's advantage to a very large extent. However, Immortals don't get that, so if you want to be aggressive with Immortals, you actually have to walk across the map with all the reinforcements, which can be harder. However, if you're defending, it's not a big deal. So building those Immortals and allowing you to defend a little bit better can be a really good choice. Glenn here also now starting to build Immortals, although he should be able to get out, but I would really laugh / feel sad if the Immortal got stuck back there. Checking out the unit, I was already looking at units. We do have a slight worker lead from Glenn, although I think Gogy will catch up in that very, very quickly. I'm surprised we don't see additional Immortals coming out, and I'm surprised that we see additional Warp Gates when we don't have the money for any of it. We do have a small engagement here at the front. By that I mean we had a scouting Phoenix sent out, as now you don't have to research hallucinate. So now that Glenn has all the information he needs, he has that one additional Immortal. Remember, this robotics facility actually finished up for Gogy first, but he hasn't made full use of it, and so now he's going to be down an Immortal. That is a big, big deal, actually, in this next engagement. There are lots of... there's actually not very many Immortals, or Stalkers out here. There's really just nothing out from Gogy. He's got a lot of money locked up in these, the queues, and these could be a lot of Zealots. He's got supply for it, he's got production for it, and I think this is going to go really poorly. There's only two, there's probably 5 or 6 force fields here. Remember, we do have the ability to throw down that Photon Overcharge, which should help out quite a bit, but this attack could be really scary. So here we have, moving up, the Zealot's going to go ahead and take the brunt of the damage. Force fields, they're keeping those Stalkers in against those Zealots. That was a good move. And the Zealots are going to be able to get up close and personal. He's not throwing down force fields to keep that Immortal safe. Should be reinforcing with non-Stalker units. This is going to actually go really bad for Gogy. The Immortals here pummeling away at all of the buildings. The Stalker's going down almost instantaneously. They're not even actually worrying about Gogy's Stalker here. That's how fast Immortals kill buildings. And there it goes. 4 Immortals. Do so good against everything else. Nothing in production from either player. And it looks like Glenn's actually just going to make this one base aggression work. It was a little bit of a timing attack before the... Oh, no. I hate to see additional Stalker-based units come out against this high of an Immortal and Stalker count. When you see that many Immortals, you want to build Zealots. They don't take additional damage. Check this out. Immortal, 55 damage to armor, 22 to normal. Zealots also have more hit points than Stalkers do. Actually, it's about the same. They just don't take the additional damage, so they last a lot longer. And their attack damage doesn't get reduced against the Immortal's Hardened Shield. So I think overall, I think Gogy actually would have come in here pretty strong if he had a little bit more consistent production, taking some of the stuff out of his queues and making sure he could continually produce out of the buildings that he did have. I think he could have had a large enough army. I think that Glenn just had a pretty good timing right there, where he knew his opponent had expanded, and then exploited that. So Glenn going up to 2-0 lead here, so it looks like Gogy's going to be on the ropes, and we'll see if he can pull something out of his hat when we get back.